too much. Okay, let's go.
It's okay. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I knew it.
Paper, scissors, shoot.
I fucking knew it.
Paper, scissors, shoot.
I knew it was going to be bad. Stop copying me.
Stop. Okay. Okay. If someone's listening on audio, this is like so bad.
Fucking finally.
We shouldn't even do the 2 out of 3.
We know. Okay, you start.
For anybody that was listening, for anyone that was listening, I'm so sorry for like the really awkward audio in the beginning. Amna and I are sitting in studio, and so I said that whoever wins, because we've been playing Mancala recently, so we played rock, paper, scissors, and we kept getting the same number. I'm like, okay, let's play rock, paper, scissors to decide who's going to open up the podcast. And so then we waited and dilly-dallied, and then we started, and then basically we played and got the same thing a few times, and then Amna won.
I mean, they heard it. They heard that like minute-long segment. They were there for it. They were like, we've picked the wrong podcast. They left. They came back. They fast-forwarded.
They started with their kids, and
they're like, never mind. They're talking about something to intest today. Yeah, so then I choose you.
I choose you. Okay.
You.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Confessions of a Desi Drama Queen. These are your hosts, Sana and Amna. We're so excited to be back.
So excited to be back.
I don't know. There's something about this chair and Luke and just like, it's just so therapeutic.
It is. And I was telling Sana, this is one of the first days. I think that you've come before me. Two,
I walked in and I was like, I'm early.
Yeah.
Just me though.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, Sana's there and I'm not. And then
it's because Muzi and I came together today and I was like, you cannot be late. Do you see this time? Like, we have to be on time. No dilly-dallying. And
cut to Luce was like, okay, well, they're always like 10 minutes late. But to Muzi, we're like, Muzi, you don't understand. Don't understand.
10 minutes is
and
understatement.
Then we are like the quote unquote least prepared we could have been for a podcast episode actually ever, and it's been working out for us so far.
We're just like diving in the deep end today. We were like, fuck
we
it.
Didn't discuss anything.
Talk about weddings. Fuck it. It's like wedding season. Fuck it.
Okay. Yeah, we literally didn't talk about anything. I've been in Dallas for like
I've been in Dallas. Never said everything.
Yeah. I was in Dallas for a week and genuinely I came back. We hugged each other like we hadn't seen each other in like a year.
Interstellar. I'm the grandma. Amna comes back from space. She's young. She's rejuvenated. I've gone through too much alone.
No, I have been telling Sana every day. One, you like started like cooking again.
You're like one time.
No, you did the ribbon thing. You did the ribbon carrots.
I did the carrot.
And then you did a whole haul of your freezer. I mean, I'm just like, we have that.
Did you like the Sour Patch?
I haven't even tried it yet, but it's in my freezer.
Fruit Riot sour grapes. I was like, I have to try this. Tried it. It's so sour. My face was like tingling. But the mango one is sour-er.
Okay.
But I do like the grape one. But Muzi tried both and was like, return this shit. Return both of these.
I haven't tried it yet.
I was like, no, Muzi, they're really good. And then I got true fruit. But low key, even of the true fruit, the raspberry is still the best one.
Okay,
I spent all the money for you.
Good to know. Well, she's in that era. This is what's going on with her.
I got new glasses.
You got new glasses? No, this look, for anyone who's not watching, you are missing out.
It's
like
a disservice to yourself.
This is a look. You look good. She walked out in the hallway and I was like, ma'am, there was wind blowing. She's like the pants and the shoes.
Dude, can I say a husband could never? A husband could never. But no, literally saying, because you walked in, she has a freaking cute ass bun, and then like nobody's seeing this, but she has like pink written on her ass.
Turn around and moon you guys. I will at the end.
Cheetah on the we'll put a picture on the story.
Just my butt.
It's so cute.
But I'm wearing.
We're so character.
I'm wearing my like combat boots. They're somewhere in frame, I think. And then but because I bought these pants and they have like the diamond. It says pink on the butt,
like
and I was like,
juicy pants. But
and I wore them to the airport when I landed. I'm just was like,
crazy.
Yeah, I was feeling it. And I'm just was like, he laughed at my pants, and he was like, what is this, like the 2000s? And I was like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah,
like, what do you mean? Obviously.
Dude, I went shopping with Muzi this past weekend. I have been trying to, Muzi only changes his fashion when I'm like, it's been too long that we've been in this phase. We have to move on. And we went shopping and I got him to try, after so long, I got him to try like wide leg jeans. And it took everything out of him he's like, Sana, there were some of them. I was like, okay, these are safe options. He like prepped me beforehand. He's like, Sana, like 30 minutes into this, I'm going to be overwhelmed. And I dealt with that with my sisters. I'm like, okay, it's okay. We're going to just go in and pick some things. He's like, yeah, like I can't do this for too long. At one of the stores we went to, they like wouldn't let me even near the fitting room. So he's like trying stuff on and he came out and he was like, none of these are me. He's like, I can't do it. Like these aren't me. And so.
No, so he didn't get them?
No, he got 2 like jeans that I'm like, okay, these are, it was like, we made like a baby step in the right direction.
We're on the right direction. We're on the right road. Yeah. Okay, good. The thing that changed Abdus from like skinny jeans into like wide leg was Japan. He went to Japan and he went to Uniqlo and he came out actually a new man.
Also, yeah.
He was like so inspired. It's the right place to be.
Yeah, 100%.
But I actually don't even remember where we started. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to keep driving.
Yeah.
Because we are doing a confession today. We have a confession. Yeah. We
were updating on our lives.
Oh, yeah. So let's backtrack. He said, beep, beep. So I was in Dallas. It felt like forever. Right. I went there for a wedding and then there was a baby shower. And every time I go to Dallas, I think I'm going to have all the time in the world. I literally morph into like a 15-year-old me, but this time with responsibilities.
Dude, yeah, because every time I would FaceTime her, she'd be like literally the way you were when you were like 17. She'd be like in bed, Chipotle in hand, watching TV.
Yeah, I know. It was so fun, but it was so hot. I don't know, like going from one place to another, the vibe switch, I don't know. I never really realized it when I was younger.
Yeah.
But the more I leave Chicago and then come back, the more distinct one vibe is from the other. And I start realizing it and I'm like, oh, because my parents, my parents are like further, like my parents would never live in Chicago.
Yeah,
they would never live in Chicago.
Yeah.
They are like, it's way too close and congested and we just don't like it. Like if it was up to my dad, we'd be on a farm. Like actually on a farm.
And you guys, where you guys live in Dallas is pretty like open.
It's like not that
naturey.
Yeah, it's very naturey.
It's such a good like mind. Like, okay, I can like my mind can be quiet.
I took it for granted. Mm-hmm. But then I came back and every time I come back to my apartment more and more and I'm like, home. My home. Yeah. And I feel like I'm like realizing in real time what it feels like. Because after you move, like every time you come back home, you are excited.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, it's a weird feeling to be like,
it's like almost a switch. You're like,
yeah, then I'm like, am I betraying my family? But I come back home and I'm like, my apartment, my home.
I felt like that pretty quickly when I left. Like when I moved into my place, like I missed home, but I feel like the creating a new home was like, I feel like I held on to that like so tight. I was like, this is so peaceful and safe. So much so that if I would like, if I would come back home and I would feel like the ground shaking even a little, I'd be like, everyone relax.
Yeah, no, now you like see it from the outside in and you're like, guys, what's going on?
I remember one time my brother and sister were like, dude, you got married and moved and you're so soft now. Like, you don't even know how we are. And I'm like, you guys, it's toxic. We need to slow it down.
Like, why are we so crazy? Why are we living up here when we could be right down here? Calm,
we're on such a tangent, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, but it feels good. But anyways, so what were you up to while I was gone?
It was just like something after another.
You were doing clients.
Yes, I had clients. I actually, I'm not gonna lie, the whole way leading up to it, confession, I was bitching and moaning. I was like, Muzi, why did I do this? Why did I do this? Like, I committed to this and I have to go and I have to do it. I'm so annoyed of myself and my life. And he's like, shut, after he's like coming off, like being in the ICU like 18 days in a row. And he's like, okay, like, cool. And then I'm like, no, you don't understand. I worked a whole week and I have to go do clients and blah, blah, blah. And then I literally, that's how I was acting. And then I went there and every time that I had them, I went and I was like, oh, I love this. I forgot how good this is. I forgot how fun this is. I forgot how like fulfilling it is to like just do something with your hands for a while that like, feels good, and then you get paid for it. Was just so fun. It was so fun watching you do it again. I was like, look, like the coolest people. Shout out to Rilla because I know she watches, but like literally I got to meet, like I love that part of it, like meeting people and their families. Like I've done so many, like just doing our friends or our friends' friends, or like being on that side of it. It's just so fun to watch the dynamics and be a part. It's just really, really fun. So I loved it. I had so much fun. But it was just a really busy weekend. I'm so in my third. Dude, even standing in the podcast studio, I bent down to pick something. My knee cracked. I was like, I can't. I did clients with my sister. And I was like, after clients, I went home. I was tired. I was like, I have to rest and recover for tomorrow. And I remember being this way a few years ago, because for reference, my sister's in her like late 20s and I'm 31. And I remember doing clients and then having plans or weddings or something, because it's Memorial Day weekend. It's always like such a busy weekend. And then being out and then coming back and sleeping 0 and then going client. And I'm like, I can't hang the way I used to.
We were living different back then. Living different. The energies. And that's why now when anybody younger is like, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, I'm like, you have no idea the youth you have on your side right now. Guys, like, you actually have no idea the youth you have.
If you are in your 20s, just shut the fuck up, and you don't need sleep. You're fine.
No, I was the person that my entire personality was that I could stay up all night.
Yeah,
that was my actual, and I wasn't even going anywhere. I was just watching TV and it was rotting.
You could literally turn it on and off.
I took an exam. I took my driver's test. I went and got groceries, saw a friend, took some cute photos, did my hair, came back, washed my face, did it for another 2 hours. And then kind of sort of slept and started again and was like, man,
could study and could do everything. Dude,
half a coffee, I'm like ready for the whole day. And now I'm like, oh God. The wedding ended at 10 p.m. We went home after the after party at midnight, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
I saw this girl's TikTok where she was like, you know what? It sucks getting married in your 30s when you have friends that got married when they were in their 20s, because she's like, you went to all their bachelorette trips, and she's like, I have been on all your bachelorette trips and shaken ass and been on the yacht and blah, blah, blah. And now it's her turn. And just because people are in their 30s, she's like, 3 of my friends are like, we're trying to get pregnant. One of them is pregnant. My sister doesn't drink. So we're gonna go, but nobody can even go. You know what I mean? She's all she wanted to do was go. She's in Texas, and she wanted to go to Fredericksburg in Texas. That's all she wanted to do.
Okay.
And she's just to go to some wineries and have a chill time.
Yeah.
And even that, she's like, what do we even do? She's like, so we're gonna have a craft night at home. And I was like, I feel bad.
Yeah, and even for people that don't, even for anyone that doesn't do stuff like that, even then, you're still up. You're still up doing nothing. You're just up till 4 a.m. All the energy. Yeah, you have a hookup going or something.
Everything's fun at that age.
You're just up for you're outside looking at the stars. Your bachelorette trip, it was shocking that I didn't wake up for the sunrise.
Yeah.
You were like, Amna, we're all looking at the sunrise. And I was like, I can't, Sana. And it was like, Amna, are you sure? Are you sure?
We didn't need sleep. At that time, I feel it would be okay, we'll be out till whatever time at night. Whatever time at night. We'd be out till 2 or 3 or whatever. Then we'd go home. We'd wake up. We'd do a freaking boat thing. We'd do a freaking ATV thing. We'd do a this. We'd do a that. We've gone on all these things. And I'm like, dude, one activity, and then I need a chill dinner.
If someone even asks that of me now, I'm like, that's actually kind of mean. I can't. You know what I mean? That, come on. Why would you ask that?
The ideal vacation at that time was how obviously cheap can it be? What's the biggest bang for your right? And then how many people can go? And now I'm like, is there a spa nearby?
Yeah.
Will there be coffee in my room?
Do I have the amenities of room service?
Is my balcony or is it I just feel
which way direction is the sun coming up?
Literally.
It really does matter now.
I know.
Yeah. Also, I don't know where we landed. So, yes, youth.
Live it up, dude. Enjoy your youth.
We're going to get into that because we're going to talk about weddings today. So we're going to get into all of that even more in detail.
Confession.
Okay. So earlier I was saying, as I'm pulling this up, earlier I was saying that we're the least prepared for today's episode. We're going straight off vibe. But yeah, we la-di-da'd it. We asked a question
Daily
3 hours ago, and we've gotten so many comments,
guys.
So many
we'll be
and I was
tell us
what?
confessions, and it's sometimes crickets, and then we're like, guys, do you want to talk about weddings? And
it's the procrastination of it all, because we're you guys have an hour and a half, tell us everything, and they told us everything.
So
we'll
funny.
be okay, let's give them a week, and it's silence, and we're all right, time of death. Okay, so our confession today is. One time in Pakistan, a puppo lost her bangles and accused me of stealing them. I was 15 and did not steal her stupid gold bangles. Anyways, she found them, but I was so mad I for real stole them after she found them and gave them to a street vendor. But she couldn't accuse me a second time after having already wrongfully accusing me, so no one brought it up to me again. Oh, what a good revenge story. I'm dying laughing because this part is definitely cut out, you guys. But the way it was written, I read it like a freaking code. I was and then she said, that was crazy.
No, but her stupid gold bangles is sending me. It's giving Junie B. Jones. I love it. Also, what's wrong with you?
Oh my God. Yeah, at 15, I would have just cried and would have been a funny story.
Yeah, but that's hilarious. No, she's got some big balls for that kind of behavior. I love it.
That was so funny.
I love
it.
Are you a Scorpio? I actually really want to know. Because that's some Rabia type behavior.
Oh my God.
As in my sister Rabia. That is she is a Scorpio.
Yes.
She has the audacity.
I don't know what my brother is, but he really be living in the audacity.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. And they hype each other up. I don't know what he is.
Okay,
He's in November, but like,
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever that combination is.
I have a story, but I don't know if I should say it or not.
Say it.
Okay.
I don't even know what it is.
You had to ask all but one time. Okay, I remember we had family friends staying at our house once, and I was like a teenager, but I was like graduating high school or starting college, and I was dating someone, and they had gotten me watches for my birthday. I had it in a box, and this family that was staying with us, they were like friends with my parents, and the younger girl, she actually took it. Like she actually took it because I knew where I left it, and I was like, where did I leave it? And then my dad, which maybe I shouldn't say this on the podcast, but like my dad was like, oh, it's okay. Like I have cameras around the house. Like we'll figure it out in like a few minutes. And then she came like running down with it.
No.
And she was like, I found it. And she was like frazzled as fuck. And I was like, oh.
No. How old was she?
She was young. She was like 10.
Oh, okay. Then it's fine. If he was a teenager, then it'd be like, what the
Okay, should we do go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
What were you going to say?
I was just going to wing it.
Do you have a story of when you were younger and you like got caught stealing?
I never really got caught. This was like self-inflicted pain. We would go to this like camp thing every year at the school I went to, and we would hike, and on the hikes it'd be like fossils
you went
and stuff.
To camp?
It wasn't like you stay overnight camp, but it was every year, once a year, we do like a day camp. So we learned like archery and hiking and horseback riding and canoeing.
That's so
it was so fun.
Ranger.
It was so fun. But I do have a vivid memory of me almost like killing everyone because I had my bow and arrow, but I had a question. So it was like that scene from Modern Family where you like turn and everyone's like freaking out, and I'm like, sorry. But I stole. It was like they said there's fossils on there. It's not dinosaur fossils. It's like leaf fossils, right?
Okay.
But I stole a leaf fossil, and for years.
Wait, how old are you?
I must have been like 14, 13.
Okay.
And I felt really bad that I stole something that was a fossil. No, this is genuinely. I felt so bad that I kept it in my closet. And I maybe have been younger than 13, 14. I knew I was going to go the next year. It was 7th grade. I was in 7th grade, however old that is. I was like, oh, I'm going to go there next year. But I moved end of 7th grade. So then I ended up not going back there, so I could never return it. So I always kept it in my closet, and I always would look at it and be like, man, I stole this. I feel bad. It's a fossil. Like, it was like a cool fact, but I also felt kind of guilty. And then my house burned down. And I couldn't now. I was like, well, everything I've ever stolen is just... I'm just starting you. It's
Dude,
fine.
We gotta stop dropping bombs about your life.
So then,
in this fashion,
and like, you know, the worst part is it's not the only thing I've ever stolen, but it's the only thing I've stolen I felt bad about. Where I was like, this could be
really funny.
Like,
but did you ever get caught? Sorry, I didn't mean.
Did I get caught?
Like
probably. But I was like a big gaslighter. I was like, not me. And I believed it, you know, so I don't know. I probably did.
My first time, I was like really little. I was like maybe 5 or something, and I was with my mom and grandma and their friend, and they had 2 daughters. And so they were like a couple years older than me, and so we all went to this like store on Devon. And I was like, I remember I went like this to a pizza. You know when you have like a random memory from your kid, I went like this to a pizza cutter, and I was like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done because I got a cut. I was like, why'd you do that? Like that. And then we were in line at the register, and the 2 of them were like stealing nail polish, and they were like, Sana, take one too. And I was like, okay. That's really all it takes. I was like, all right. So I was like, I took it and I went home with it, and I had it in my pockets, and I was like, fuck yeah, like can't wait to put this on. And then I got home, and my mom took off my coat, and she felt it in my pocket, and she was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, oh, and I'm a shit liar. Dude.
Horrible liar.
Dude, I'm a shit liar.
You used to be, you now are a little better of a liar.
You think?
I think so, yeah. Okay. I definitely think
I don't know what to make of that.
When I say liar, I don't mean like, you know, like fucked up shit. But you're good at like, you're better at it. You're better at it.
Yeah, so I was a really bad liar. But I literally was like, oh, it was me. But they stole it, so I stole it too. I'm so sorry. And my mom was like you're literally, she was so mad. It was the first time I got hit. That's probably why I remember it. She beat my ass. She beat my ass. And then the police sirens were like going by and she was like, they're here for you because you stole.
My God.
And I literally was like, no. Like I was like devastated. I was like, oh my God, like I ruined my life. Like I'm
going to jail.
She really taught me a lesson. And then she called the other mom to be like, hey, this is what Santa told me. She got her ass whooped. Like I dealt with her, but I just want to let you know because the girls took it too. So I'm gonna take it back tomorrow. And so she made me take it back the next day.
Wow.
She was like, you're gonna give it back and you're gonna apologize. So I did. And I was like, dude, she really drilled it home. Right.
Yeah.
But their mom was like, no, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I was so mad. I was like, are you for real? I got in so much trouble.
My mom never, as a kid, and at the time it used to really hurt my feelings, but now I kind of understand. My mom genuinely had no faith in us. Like she would be like, if I hear one person say one thing about you, I swear to God, and I'd be like, I'm with my Harla, she's not gonna say anything.
No, even when I would go to like my chachus for a sleepover, my chachu and chachis, my mom would literally sit me and Robbie down and be like, don't you dare blah blah blah, don't you dare blah blah blah, you're gonna be quiet. And then we would go in like, and they're like, are you good? Like,
except one time when we went to Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
I literally jumped
with
in the car.
Our families. We were in like 7th grade or
we were
something.
in 7th grade or something. And I would visit Chicago, and it was like a thing that we were going to go to the Dells in Wisconsin with Santa's family. And I was so excited because this might have been the first time we were doing it or something.
And we were older. We were like 15. We were like obsessed with each other.
We were like, this is
code naming boys. Like I didn't talk to Orange all day today. Like that's what we were doing in the car ride with like my sister in between.
We were at our prime of our like teenage years. Literally. Like it was so good. And I, for some reason, there was a long story that I was not allowed to go. The day of, I found out that I wasn't allowed to go, I caused a scene.
Caused a ruckus.
I cried. I called my dad, who's in Texas, and he's like, "What do you want me to do about this?" And I'm like, I'm trying to get everyone in trouble. I'm like, if I'm not going, it's everyone's problem. And then
there's no reason
And then I literally jumped in the car like I'm like red face,
like the way my dog does.
Yeah, like, I literally jumped in, wiped my tears, and I'm like, let's go, bitches. Like we're out. And I'm like waving to everyone I just yelled at. Yeah, it was so worth it. I don't have no regrets. But I like waved goodbye to everybody. Oh but God. Otherwise, like my mom genuinely was like, I'm gonna like your teacher, anyone. If they even said like even like they're like, why is she hesitating?
Yeah, no.
It could be untrue.
I did not play with that shit.
But you know what? Look, because now those girls probably turned out to be thieves in jail. Those girls
like married with kids.
They're like super religious and like figured out their lives. And I'm like, they're in jail, prison. It's a gateway. It's a gateway in.
Oh my God. Okay. Weddings.
No segue.
No segue.
Strong jump.
Just pivot.
Okay. Weddings. We literally on a whim a couple hours ago, we're like, guys, ask us anything you want about our wedding.
No, we didn't ask anybody to tell us about their weddings, their questions about their weddings, advice for their weddings. We were like, what do you want to know
about us?
About our wedding. So, okay, we've been talking about it for a little bit that like we should do an episode where we talk about weddings and stuff. Being Desi girls, like weddings is like, one of, an Inside Out where you have like a core pillar. Like it's one of our core pillars. So we were like, we should discuss it.
We're ready to say all of it. Yes. Like we're just dying for someone to blink.
And we'll do another one where we give you guys, we're going to give you advice throughout it because that's
we're going to repeat stories all the time.
No, but like throughout this, like the things I wrote down, like a lot of things are like, what would you do different? Like things like that. What would you do differently? What was your favorite thing? I feel like that's like good advice for people.
Oh my God. Yeah. Also like just touching on like what you were saying earlier about how we were like on a whim figuring this stuff out. I not one time was stressed. That's how much faith I have. And I'm like, we're gonna talk.
Dude, I was so excited.
Conversation is gonna happen.
It's never been an issue.
But, oh my God. So we asked you guys to send questions and we posted it on our personal stories too.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, it was so funny. I was dying when I saw it on the way here. One of my friends is not Muslim. She's not Desi. I'm pretty sure her first Desi Muslim wedding, right? And I told my non-Muslim friends, the card is going to say 7.
I'm dead.
Do not come at 7.
Oh my God,
But the question she sent me, my wedding, you guys, it was in 2018. She was like, Amna, what time was I supposed to be at your wedding? And I was like, no.
Okay, so your card said 7 p.m.
I'm pretty sure my card said some shit like 7:30, but my wedding was mid-July, peak summer in Texas. And we knew that everyone wants to pray Maghrib and then they're going to come, which means you're actually starting at like a cute 8 to 8:30. Like 8 is when everyone's there. 8:30 is when the party's starting. But that's Dallas timing. because I feel like Dallas timing is still
reasonable.
Within the hour the party starts. I have noticed, I'm not generalizing.
Shut up.
I have noticed in Chicago, weddings will start at like 9:30.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the food came out at my wedding at like 10 p.m.
My mehndi, I'm 90% sure started at like 9:30.
Yeah, your mehndi started.
Like my mehndi started so
mehndi
late.
start late.
Yeah,
it is
but
what it is.
But
people have gotten better about it.
They have gotten better about it. I definitely agree. I myself have gotten better about it for sure. But yeah, it was just so funny that she asked me that like 7 years later. That I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, because like if you're not Desi PSA, like you should not be coming to a South Asian wedding on time.
Unless they tell you, unless they're different. Because there's some, like I've met a lot of clients where they're actually super, super on time. Like Desi families that are super, super on time. But most of them are not Chicago people. But like,
no, but okay,
they're super.
If the card says 7 and you're not Desi, I would tell you to come at like 7:30.
No.
What time would you say?
I would say get there between 8 and 8:15.
Oh, you're like, Amna, you're leading them the wrong direction.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm saying if you want to be early, like 7:30, you're still early.
That's
you're the
super
only
early.
person that's getting...
Why do you want to be the
That's
first
true. Okay, so
there?
to be on there in an actual time, come
by 8.
Come by 8.
Yeah.
Come after an hour.
Yeah.
And you'll still be early.
Depending on your region. Talk to your local...
No, I feel like that's a safe generalization. Talk to your local community. Figure it out. No, but I do think that within the hour is like a fair. Like come
hour
within the
and a half if you're pushing it.
Don't come before the 30-minute mark.
No.
Unless you're like a bridesmaid or something, you don't need to be doing
but then
that.
you have different times.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good one. Okay. Okay, let's start here. How did y'all meet?
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so Abdus and I met through Sana. I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it to the day I die. Through Sana, I met Abdus. I came to visit during the summer, and
of what year?
I don't even remember the year you went to Turkey.
Oh, it was like 2014.
Yeah, it was something like that. But it was the year you went to Turkey because it was at your Turkey going away party.
Yeah, and which at that time Muzi and you guys had thrown me. Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, Muzi and you guys threw it for me. Yeah,
that is yes, because I remember you had left, and I remember. Because I would only visit, so I didn't really know Muzi like that.
Yeah.
But I remember you had left for Turkey, and Muzi took me, Robbie, and Usman to McDonald's. And I remember being like, this guy's so nice. He's like taking me out and about in my cut. Like, you know what I mean? It was just really sweet. I remember thinking that was really nice. But I met Abdus at...
We were like 20. You were like 20.
I was...
19, 20.
Yeah, definitely in that age range. Because he and I didn't start talking till we were 21. I just turned 21.
You were 20.
So I had come to visit you, and we had this party going on, and Abdus came, but we didn't talk at all the whole party. And I didn't really know everyone at the party because I was still living in Texas, and I would just visit. So like all her friends were people that I knew of, and we were like cool, but we weren't like really close. And I was still kind of shy. And I remember so vividly being like, oh, someone came in a motorcycle, because I was outside for some reason. And I remember there was a motorcycle parked, and I was like so swooned. I was like, who came in a motorcycle? And then when he was leaving, I was standing with you to say bye to like a group of people that were leaving. And I remember he was one of them. And I think that's why I looked outside and was like, oh, someone came in a motorcycle. Who came in a motorcycle? And he was saying bye, and he didn't say bye to me. But I remember later on you were like, oh, that was his motorcycle. And I wasn't like, oh my God, wow. But I just remember like being like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you like clocked it.
I like clocked it, but we like didn't say bye to each other. We didn't talk to each other. And then it was like, I'm sure someone's birthday dinner like 2 days later. And I went with you, and we sat across from each other.
Me and Muzi went.
And we didn't really talk.
Yeah.
We might have chit-chatted, but we didn't really talk. And then I don't remember, like that's when we actually met.
That just was like happen chance. That's crazy. I didn't
Yeah, it really was just happen chance. And I remember talking to him, but not too in depth. But I remember we were sitting kind of diagonal from each other, but I did remember noticing him. And then he claims, which I mean, I'll believe, that he's like, and I thought you were cute at that dinner. And I'm like, did you though? So he, I don't remember how far after that he got my number from you, from Sana. He got my number from Sana.
Me, Abdus, and one of our friends, Sadia, we were like hanging out because we were in like college at the time.
Yeah.
So we were hanging out, and then Abdus we were going to do like late night food, and then he was going to drop me home. And we like were talking about you, and then he was like, give me your number. And I just was like, I raw dogged it fully. I was like, sure, here's her number.
I had no warning.
Nothing.
No
I gave
context.
her nothing. I was just like I was having a grand old time. I'm like, fucking do it. Let's see what happens.
No, but it turned out
it was
lucky
so fun.
for you, beautifully. Because then I get this random ass text at like, I don't even know what time it was.
It was late.
It was really late. Obviously, I was in my youth.
Are you keeping up?
And I was up, and the text, it was really sweet, but it said something like, "Hi, I got your number from Sana, and I just think you're really beautiful." And I didn't respond for like 2 days because I was like, okay.
And then we talked in between.
And I was like, "Sana, you get my number," and she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Who is it?" And I knew I was coming to visit you in like 6 months.
Because every summer she came to Chicago.
Because it was like clockwork. It was my schedule.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, I can't leave this guy hanging, but I also should say something. But I'm going to be very like, we're just going to shut it down. So I said something like, "Thank you so much, period. That is very kind of you to say, period." And it was like 2 days later, and he responded being like, "Oh shit, I can't believe you responded." And then we started talking, and then I told him my life story. And
then her house burned down.
My house burned down.
Yup.
Like a month later. Yep. And then we were talking. We were like, when my house burned down, and then like maybe 2-3 weeks after that, that's when I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna marry this guy.
That's crazy.
Like I was like, I said it to him too. He like helped me get my phone or something back. And I remember I didn't have my phone. So I had his number written down on a piece of paper, and we would call each other.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were talking on Facebook Messenger, and I was complaining about my phone. And as I was complaining, he figured out my phone thing, and he's like, "Your phone's on the way." And I was like, "Thank you so much. I'm gonna marry you." And he was like all like hyped and excited. Yeah. But I said it like actually not wanting, like I just said it like,
yeah,
like I just had like
felt comfortable.
I just felt comfortable. I just said it.
Cute.
And then I was like, that one, I pick
that
you.
one.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet?
Okay, Muzi and I officially met like where we were like became friends, and then eventually started dating in college because we had a chem class together. It was Chem 1 when we were freshmen, and I had an earlier morning one, and he had a like midday one, and I was like, why would I go to an 8 a.m. one when I could go to an 11 a.m. one? It's the same professor, it's the same class. So I went to that one. And the girl Muzi was like having his little fling with from that summer was sitting like we were all like it was them, and I was like, "Hey guys," and I sat over there.
Process what you were saying.
So it was like the three of us. Oh, thank you. So it was like the three of us, and then like eventually over a few weeks, like we became like good friends and stuff. I was actually dating someone at the time. We became good friends and stuff. But I was like this with everyone. Like I just
living your life.
Yeah, in college, like I feel like I would be like, "Oh, hey," everybody just kind of like
living. You were
it was pre-pandemic. People like socialized and had like it was normal. But like I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. He has a class. I'm just gonna sit right here." And then over a few weeks and months, like eventually she just stopped sitting with us, and then we became really good friends. And then we started dating, and we were like 19. Muzi was turning 20. We were so young, and then we took a break. Like mid-college, which is a story for another time, but it is a story. But we took a break, and then we got back together, and then we've been together since. But we've known each other since we were that young, and then like that's when we like became friends. But I actually have like known him and known of him since we were in high school because he was friends with most of the girls I knew.
Yeah.
Because they all knew each other and were friends, and like he was him and his friends were friends with all of my friends for like some of them like grew up together. They were very, very close. So I would see him. Like I remember when Rimsha and her sister had like a house party when the parents weren't there. Him and his friends were downstairs, and I was like, okay, I'll go collect the money for the pizza. And I went down with I went down with a baseball cap, and I was like $5 from everyone. And he was there, and he was just like they didn't say anything, and I was like, guys, they never do the money. But was at my birthday party, my like 17th birthday party. So I have like pictures from my house, and he's like in the background. I'm like, what the fuck are you even doing here? Like, that's crazy. Because I used to have these like really big elaborate parties. But anyways, so that's how far back we go. And then obviously Muzi was like doing med school stuff. So then we got married then it was pandemic. So we were supposed to get married in 2020. We had our nikah in 2020. And then we had our full wedding in summer of 2021.
Oh, Ooh, what a time.
God. Okay.
Amazing.
When was your wedding?
My wedding. So from when I met Abdus, we dated for 2 years, and on our third, I think we were engaged. Yeah. On our third year, we were engaged. And then by a year later, we got married. So my wedding was in 2018, July of 2018.
July of 2018. Okay. So Amna's been married almost 7 years. And I'm curious, what do you guys count? I know everybody's gonna say that they count their nikah day, but what day do you count as your anniversary?
I did that on purpose, where my nikah day was the day of my reception.
Oh, you did. So
did.
that's your anniversary.
So that's
day.
our anniversary.
Okay,
I don't even remember our dating anniversary.
Yeah. Okay, this is so weird, but Muzi and I every year celebrate our dating anniversary.
That's sweet.
But because I feel like it's just like, I don't know, something about that day, that time of like our life. We always celebrate that. Not even as like a big thing, just as like it's our anniversary.
Really
we're gonna like reminisce on like our relationship, whatever. And then for our wedding, we count our like reception day, the day that we like had our proper wedding. But I know everybody's gonna yell at me because you're supposed to count your nikah, but low-key,
I don't know. It's like
that's just the day that to me feels like our wedding.
Yeah. Because that was like technically when you got rukhsated. So
yeah, so that was in 2021.
Also, my brother started calling midway, and I was like, "Shut up!"
Oh my god, that stresses me out.
Okay, so should I just go random? Anything random?
Whatever you're feeling.
Okay, well, someone asked us, can you tell us about the Rishta process? That's one.
And I guess talk about how you, so somebody asked about, people were asking like, how did you guys tell your parents and stuff like that?
Yeah, the Rishta process. Okay.
Yeah, so do you want to start with like?
Yeah, I'll start. So with the Rishta process for me, it honestly was kind of fast, kind of not. So my mom, I mentioned this in the last episode, the woman knew everything. She knew for sure. And honestly, Abdus didn't like hide it, you know, like what she was very vocal about her love that for me. But I was kind of like, nah, you know, but he like, I could never to my dad say that like, Dad, I like a boy. Like that moment was the weirdest, most uncomfortable. Like I was like, I would rather.
You were so nervous about
kill myself. Like it was so bad because I've never even told my dad that I date, you know, like, so I'm just going to be like, Dad, there's this
I feel
boy.
Like that's the normal Desi experience. Like that's probably such a big deal for most girls.
And for my dad, if I said that I have also it was kind of embarrassing because like the verbiage I had to use to my dad.
I love it.
My dad, if I say this boy is my friend, in his mind, that means boyfriend.
Friend equals boyfriend.
Friend equals
Desi
boyfriend.
Math. This is
Desi dad math.
Yeah.
Friend equals boyfriend.
Correct.
Boyfriend means he's your husband.
Boyfriend means
you
like,
are
off the rails. You've gone too far.
A whore. You're a prostitute if that's your boyfriend. That's your pimp. But he was like, friend is boyfriend. So class fellow equaled friend.
Yeah.
So when I had guy friends in high school and I introduced them to my dad, but I had to say, Dad, this is and I like whisper, I'd be like, Dad's my class fellow.
Yeah.
My class fellow. I had to say class fellow to my dad.
Yeah.
So when I was time to say Abdus, my mom basically told him, it was very chaotic the way she said it, but my mom said it to my dad. And because she was also like, she knew and I kept gaslighting her, but then at some point I couldn't gaslight her. So then she knew and I knew. And if your mom finds out that you're with the boy, you have actually 30 minutes. Like you don't have time. We would go weeks and weeks and my mom would be like, so nothing, wedding. Also, this is really like, I say this with love. My mom was like really sick and she would like sometimes be like, Amna. Even if your mom is healthy, they always are like, I just want to see you get married.
And it's every milestone.
Something happens to me, every milestone. So basically, my mom finds out, she knows, she gets impatient. She tells my dad. Because
they're also like looking at rishtas for you. They're like, you're in your early 20s.
Yeah, my parents were like, don't let your class fellow stop you from finding your boyfriend. Like, don't do that. So they're like showing me rishtas and I don't like any of them. And so it was, and I wasn't even looking because obviously I was with Abdus. But like even the rishtas they was bringing, I was like, guys, come on. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
But
some people were asking, I had seen the questions that people were like, how do you find? And I'm like, I really feel like I don't know how to be out in the world.
I don't know because we talked about this in the last episode. We just barely missed the mark of like online dating.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like when I was in college and stuff too, like it's so easy to just talk, just DM.
Maybe it was
why
for
they make it so
us.
complicated. Yeah,
you know, like I feel like now in college because everything's online and like, you know, their dating apps are like such a big thing.
I have heard a lot of girls say that guys just don't approach them and stuff anymore. Yeah, I remember we would be at like in Pakistani Day parades or like international nights, and it was so normal to be approach people or just like that. It was easier to meet people.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck.
At least you'd get a Facebook At minimum. You saw each other at an event, didn't talk to each other, Facebook poke. You know you've locked it in.
But at max, you're like talking to a few people.
Max, your AOL aim is having a time. Yeah. Oh my God, that was so fun.
That's so fun.
Just having aim and like
popping up.
Oh my God. And using Uvu and freaking Zoom, like we're on a Teams meeting.
I'm dead. I never went down that road.
I was on Uvu. I was talking to my cousin, so it was a good time. But anyways, mom finds out. She tells my dad after she literally physically can't contain it inside of her any longer, because I was like, I'm getting married at 30. And got to me getting married at 24. And so my dad, he literally like the only thing he asked me, because he couldn't say like, are you in love with him? I would literally be like, absolutely not. But my dad was like, oh, so you like this boy? And I was like, yeah. I was like, me with my dad, I physically cannot.
She's so soft and sweet.
When I can now I can fight my dad, but like in my older years. But when I was like younger in my 20s, like he was so good at the I'm so disappointed in you, and I'd be like, oh, I've really messed up my life.
She really was.
I always would.
I'd be like screaming, fighting, and I'd be screaming, fighting with my dad, and I'd be like, I'm gonna ask your dad if we can like do this, and he'd be like, and
I'm like, he said the man said no, Sana. The man said no,
and she'd be like, no, it's a no, and I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, but with my mom, I'm like, Mom. Yeah. But my dad asked me, he's like, do you like this boy? And I was like, oh, yeah. And then he was like, if I didn't want you to marry him, would you still marry him? And I was like, oh, fuck. This is a test question. Mm-hmm. What do I say? So I was like, I mean, I would like to, but I would ask you why. And I'd want to know like your thoughts. Like it would be a discussion, you know, we're breaking curses here, sir. And he was like, okay. Like basically like that was it. Like that was actually it. Okay. And then my mom reached out to your mom, because Abdus would come to your house as like a friend all the time. And like your mom was way more like chill about those things. And you guys knew him.
Yeah, my parents knew all my like guy friends and girlfriends.
Yeah. So like you guys were able to vouch for him. And so then I think my mom got his mom's. I don't remember who gave whose mom what number.
Yeah.
But somehow we gave the moms the numbers, and he told his parents, and then our parents had a phone conversation, and then his family actually came to visit me without him. Mm-hmm. His sister and his mom and dad came to visit us without him, because they just wanted to kind of get to know us. And things went well. Like our parents got along fine. Yeah.
And I will just say Amna's family is Punjabi and Abdus's family is Gujarati, Pakistani Gujarati. But like, so that was also like, because that was Gujarati,
a big deal for
family
them.
Speaks Punjabi. Like
when our moms found out about each other, both of our moms watched the same drama, and in the drama, the guy was Punjabi and the girl was Gujarati or something, and they both kept referencing the drama to us and being like, look, and we were like, you guys need to chill out. But they met us. We all got along fine. I feel like between my family and my in-laws are a little bit more conservative. They have always been very like sweet, and like it's never been a problem and it's never been an issue. So it just all kind of like, I feel like once they knew.
No, but those are like normal adjustments. I feel like that's so
no, because it could have gone in the wrong direction. Like if you're not on the same halal to haram ratio as far as families go, like that can be each other, but like even especially and obviously there's a time and a place for everything. Like I'm gonna dress respectfully when I go to my in-laws, but I still dress like myself, you know. Like I remember my dad, I was wearing like leggings and a sweater or something, and my dad was like, are you sure you want to wear the leggings? And I was like, Dad, I'm not gonna not dress how I dress around them. Like no, I want them to see me as me, but like demure. So
dude, I remember that was our process. Really young and going to my in-laws house for like dance practices for weddings and stuff. Like Muzi and I would do dance practice together. Like they knew that we were like friends or whatever. And I would go in like dusty, crusty sweatpants, dude. Sweatpants. I would go in dusty, crusty sweatpants. Like I remember they would have paint on them, because I just didn't know like their family dynamic in my family. That's so freaking normal. And now that I know, I'm like mortified at the way I would show up. I would literally show up with like a side bun, like crusty t-shirt. I'd be like, hey, guys,
all of us were as teenagers were like dressed up like that.
Literally.
Where's the backyard?
I know, literally. But Muzi and I's parents, like my family was really, it's so interesting because they were really like kind of controlling about certain things. But then there were things that most people's parents were controlling about. My parents were not. Like I was allowed to have guy friends. Once I got to like a reasonable age in their minds, when I was like 18ish, I was allowed to like say, hey, I'm talking to this person, I like them. Like they were like, because they got married really young, but they were like, explore your options, like as long as you're keeping it respectful. Even with clothes, they were like that. Like I wouldn't like change out of something. When I left my house, my mom was very open about wearing things. She never like was like, oh, you aren't allowed to wear that. Like literally, I'm sure I'll talk about this more at some point, but all of that to say that when I started talking to Muzi, my parents knew pretty naturally, like early on, that this is someone I'm talking to. Like not right away, but I think it was like a year and a half in or something like that, that I was like, okay, like he's a friend of mine. He would come in groups. And then after that, it would be like, this is around college time. And then after that, it became a little more like, oh, okay, Sana likes him. Okay, like that's one of the friends that, and then they got to know him. They got to like him. So it was very like embedded in that way. And then for Rishta stuff, Muzi's family is Memon and Pakistani and Sunni Muslim, and my mom's side is Punjabi, but my dad's side is Memon and Pakistani and Muslim. And so it's just like not an issue. It wasn't an issue in like family wise. Yeah. I have a lot of friends, and also, I'm sure we'll have friends.
Your mother-in-law and your grandma are friends.
Yes, and my mother-in-law and my grandma have known each other, and there'd be like random things like Muzi, when we were early dating, he like found this like a Quran or something that had like my grandma's stamp on it, or a gift or something with my grandma's stamp on it. It was just, we had a lot of like, connections in that way. But yes, it was a very like, oh, these two people from Chicago whose families like, it was like that. But I will say like Muzi is the youngest in his family, and he was going to med school, and I am the oldest in my family on both sides of my family. So I'm older than Amna. I'm older than all our cousins on our mom's side. I'm older than all the cousins on my dad's side. And I'm the oldest daughter in obviously my house. So there was a lot of pressure from my surrounding families. And now that I'm married, they'll all be like, we never pressured you.
Oh my God.
They'll be like, we never.
Us? Never.
You made your own decisions. I'm like, you guys.
The pressure is very serious.
Because, and I get it from their perspectives. I really do. Because, you know, we're like 24, then 25, then 26, then 27. And like everybody around us is getting married. But we were just in a situation where like, we had to wait until we had jobs and were financially secure. And now when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Live off of. Like age didn't mean you had to get married, but in my head, it was just all around us. So I felt that way. So that part was like hard to navigate. But outside of that, it wasn't like complicated for us to want to marry each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but who gave like the official, like was it like a phone call between your his mom, your mom?
His parents called my parents when we officially decided to have like a baat paki.
Yeah,
his parents called my parents.
Dude, isn't it like looking back? I'm like, those first interactions are
they're so awkward.
They're so awkward. It's so painful.
Awkward. It's so painful. My mom sent me out on a freaking goose hunt for like very specific forks. And I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me this before? My mom's pretty typey. But like, you know, I was like, what is going on? And like, we have cats and they're all allergic to cats. And it was really stressful.
I remember your parents, because with me and Abdus, like my parents were not like that. Like I was quoting, my mom again knew, but like I was gaslighting her and hiding Abdus. And your parents would be like, so you want to marry this boy? And I was like, yes. And they were like, but you have never hung out with him. I'm like, nope. And they're like, so you've only known him.
Oh, yeah. She would talk about it with my parents.
Yeah. And they'd be like, Amna, so you have known him for this amount of time, but you've never met him in person. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, nope. We obviously met in person all the time. Like, but I was like, no, not at all. And they were like, and you want to marry him? And I was like, yeah, is she gonna? And I'm like, huh? Because I obviously, if I'm going to tell my hala, my mom's going to find out. For sure. Obviously.
Oh, they were fishing.
They were freaking.
They were fishing.
I respect it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was like, no, guys, absolutely not. Which is so stupid.
Okay, I'm gonna go to next question.
Next question.
What do you have PTSD from your wedding, if any?
Oh my God, that's a low.
There's other people that ask things like biggest regret and stuff like that. We'll do that separately. But like this one is, what do you have PTSD?
Do you want mine's kind of? I'm like, should it be lighthearted?
Because no, we're gonna be decide either.
We're gonna be honest.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think my biggest PTSD from my wedding, which I realize that now is, and I'm gonna go deeper into it. I'm sure I talk in the last episode of the one before that, like I definitely want to talk about grief, but I hadn't lost my mom, but my mom was very sick around my wedding, very severely sick. And it was like 2 weeks leading up to the wedding where it just like really hit the fan. And part of my timeline with getting married was I was engaged, and the plan was we were going to be engaged for a really long time, but my mom's health really declined very quickly to the point where I left and moved to DC to start my master's at George Washington. I left after a semester because I was like, I have to be with my mom. And what was supposed to be like a year too long wedding timeline, engagement timeline, I'm sorry, we got married in 6 months. Like I decided the week of finals that we are getting married and we're like expediting everything. And we are picked a date before I even got back to Dallas. And
hence why her wedding was in July.
Which is why it was in July. It was so quick, why I was so young. And I think it was like that couple weeks leading up to my mom being so sick at the wedding. I didn't realize how like heavy it was at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, I cannot believe she was in that situation. And around that were these circumstances, a wedding. Like it was fun. Don't get me wrong. Like
no,
she had
it
a
was
great
fun,
time.
But yeah, I know exactly
she was fun, but I think that was my biggest PTSD from my wedding time.
Okay, I have one. It's not that.
Okay.
Like it's not. It's more like I feel like growing up in our family, we talked about what because I was the oldest probably, but like what my wedding is gonna feel like and be like, and like my parents had, like they didn't have a wedding, so it was a lot like, oh my God, for Sana's wedding we're gonna get blah blah blah, and they loved music. It was just it just felt so like emotionally like overpouring with love. That's how it felt. But then when it came to the actual wedding, I guess I was surprised at how like isolated almost I felt, or like I felt like I was arguing with them all the time. I felt like they weren't understanding. I felt like, and I don't mean this in from like a brat perspective. There were a lot of changes, like in like their approach, their perspectives. They were like trying to sell the house in between the wedding stuff. I was like, you guys, like maybe this isn't a good time for this. Like it was just like a lot happening that I felt like I was trying to keep up with wedding stuff and wedding costs and all these things. And then they're like, it's like you would think that during your wedding time, in your mind, what you hope is that like your wedding's gonna happen and the rest of the world is just gonna like pause for a second.
Yeah.
Just like pause for a second so we can just like get through this like big day, right?
This like era.
But like it was kind of like it just like escalated in every avenue. So it felt very overwhelming.
Oh, 100%.
Like it felt very overwhelming. But I say this with like complete balance with the fact that it is also truly the best time ever. One of the best memories, Amna's wedding and my wedding and our friends' wedding times, like just those summers. But especially your wedding and my wedding for us, I'm sure like it was such good
like like the memories were phenomenal. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that like honest, real shit wasn't going on at the time.
Like, just
and
in
like
case you felt that way too.
Yeah, things get heavy and like you were working like a dog.
I was working like a
you
dog,
were working
dude.
every single weekend, every single day. Like clients, I mean, on top of your regular job.
Question on top of that, because there was a lot of questions about like anything like, do you regret spending the money on it, or is anything you do regret spending?
Oh my God. Yes. Yes and no. So I said this to Sana after, because my wedding was like, even though there was a lot of people in my family that got married, they were all older than me. So, and it was like for a while, it was mostly my older guy cousins getting married. And so it had been a minute since I felt like there had been a wedding until mine. And at least for a girl. And I'm the oldest in my family, but not oldest in my dad's side of the family. So I feel like for our side of the family, I was the first wedding.
Yes.
So we were like guinea pig. I was the guinea pig for so many things.
But when it is the first, everyone
many things.
Also is like peak. Also,
it was such, again, it was so emotionally charged, my wedding, in good and bad. It was like the highs are high, the lows are low, the in between is there is no such thing. Yeah. Like it was so good. But I remember after my wedding, I say it to all my girlfriends that get married now, like, honestly, you are going to end up spending the same amount of money that you have like anticipated to spend. How you put that in what bucket is what makes all the difference. I feel like for my wedding, I tried cutting corners on each specific item and subject versus what I should have done. I shouldn't have cut corners on my wedding outfit. My wedding outfits, like I didn't buy them from the designer. I regret that.
Also, keep in mind, Amna's wedding was in 2018. 2016 to 2019, even brides, it was very common to find the designer outfit on Pinterest.
Oh yeah, and then get it copied.
And then you would
which
get
is what
copied,
I did.
And even that would be expensive.
You know what? And it really sucks is ever since like TikTok especially popped off, now there's so many like bridal looks and ideas that I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So that is one of the downfalls of getting married like back in the day. You know what I mean? But I feel like you should spend your money on your outfit, your photographer and videographer, top 3. Food and like venue could be like right in the same place. The favors, the fucking napkin name shit, the fucking anything else. Literally not a single person cares. Nobody cares. Nobody remembers. You do you how you want to do it. You love how you look and you pick the vendors. Because someone even asked, like, how do you pick the vendors? You pick the vendors that you have a vision with and you like their work. I feel like I was like, who's available? Who's available? I like this. I didn't give any kind of like vision. I didn't give a vibe. I didn't give like this is an example of what I'm looking for. So I feel like as far as finances, I don't regret how much money I spent, but I do regret which bucket I put money into.
That makes sense. You were also younger. And I feel like when you are younger, you lean more on your parents to be like, okay, guide me in this process. You know
like what's the average rate? I don't even know. You know what I mean?
Like, so they go with you more. I feel like by the time I got married, like by the time Muzi and I had our reception, we had been planning it for so long on and off because it was like starting planning pre-COVID. And I got really, really lucky in that I locked in prices for every vendor pre-COVID, 100% pre-COVID, but right at the cutoff of pre-COVID. So my venues, my outfit deposits, my photographer, videographer deposits, my makeup, all of that was like figured out by then. And my wedding was going to be in summer 2020. But then we ended up doing a at-home backyard nikah summer 2020. And then we had a reception summer 2021. So by then, every vendor I knew, including myself, but every vendor I knew in the wedding industry had like raised their prices. Inflation, but also post-COVID, like everybody's prices really shot up. So even now when people ask about like cost of things, I'm like, this is what it cost at that time. But like these vendors are all way more expensive. The outfits are all way more expensive. But at that time, like Amna, I remember what Amna had told me is like, whatever bucket of money you think you're going to spend it. And what you think you're going to save in cutting corners, you're going to spend it somewhere else. Because I spent a lot of money on a lot of parts of my wedding. I don't regret. I was actually telling Muzi this on the way here because I was showing him some of the questions. Guys, I actually personally, I do not regret the money I spent on my outfits. I do not regret the money I spent on photo, video. And I'm saying this as someone who spent a lot from my respective pockets. I spent a lot and I worked a lot. My parents helped, Muzi's parents helped, but I also, and Muzi also, I worked a lot to be able to like put in for what I wanted for my wedding, and I don't regret.
As you
and I say that because I'm saying that because there are people that are gonna pay for their weddings fully, people that have help. There are people that are gonna get their weddings paid for fully, whatever, right? Like consider that before you take our advice on this. But I don't regret spending anything that I spent the money on because I ended up getting the exact thing that I wanted. And I did not cut a corner. If I like the videography style of this videographer, we were committed to that. Our photographer, we loved. We spent money on our photographer. Even for the question about like picking your vendors, I strongly believe pick vendors that are actually the work that you're using as your inspo. You know, like pick who your inspo is. Like even for my outfits, I went to exactly who the outfits were from. And I was like, I want this exactly. I had different experiences with each of the designers, but I did get exactly what I saw. And I was very, very happy with that decision. And for the venue and everything that we did, I have no regrets about that. I have regrets about like other things, but I don't have regrets about cost of our wedding.
Good. It was a beautiful, stunning wedding.
Dude, I was going to say, even when you're saying that, like, we have to think about it relative to the time, too, because I remember going to your wedding and being like, I am at a celebrity's Mindy.
Stop,
like,
that's how I felt at yours.
You know what I mean? Like, it feels so exciting. So don't feel like, it doesn't matter how big or small.
It doesn't matter how big or small your wedding is.
You'll have a freaking blast. But if you're someone that's teetering the line, that's your advice. That would be my advice. If you're comfortable with that, I am very happy with everything, how everything turned out. I know a lot of girls that told me that they regret that they didn't spend the money on their stuff. And I also have talked to a lot of girls that have told me that they regret that they didn't spend, they regret that they spent too much. So I've heard it on both sides. How much did you spend on outfits? I'm down to answer.
Yeah, me too. My dress was a dress not from the designer, but the original dress I think was a Sarah Naqvi dress. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I love it. I would have still picked the same wedding dress, but I would have done.
I love that you would still pick this.
I would still pick the same wedding dress. And funnily enough, I would pick it in its original form. I modified it to where I added sleeves. And I wish, that's my biggest outfit regret. I love short sleeve wedding dresses. And I picked one that was short sleeves. And everybody told me that it wouldn't look good. So I made it long sleeves. And now I'm like, I wish I did a short sleeve. I was not confident enough to fight for the things that I knew were right. I was very like a sponge. Like if someone said this doesn't look good, I'm like, you're right. I hate it. And I did that like the moment I sat down on the makeup chair, and that's a big regret. But my wedding outfit, I love the way my wedding dress came out. So that has nothing to do with who made my wedding dress. But I do wish I went to the designer because I do love that dress. But I paid to copy the designer. I paid, I think, like $2,000 to $2,500
in 2018.
In 2018,
Mine in 2018.
Yeah. My mehndi outfit, that was my least favorite. Really, I look back at my mehndi outfit, and I knew in the moment that I did not love this outfit, but I still like enjoy. Like, thank you so much. But I feel like that's an outfit that I wish I never even asked the designer at that time.
That's the thing.
I didn't even ask.
I don't know why at that time everyone made it couldn't reach them.
Everyone made it seem like there's no way in the world I could afford that. And not that I'm like, oh, I'm balling out of my ass or something. But now I look back and I'm like,
yeah, but that's something that mattered to you.
I could have asked and I come up with a solution. You know, like I could have figured something out. So I didn't even ask because I just thought it was so far-fetched. But yeah, I feel like that's not even a thing anymore.
Yeah, and then like I guess total of all that.
Oh yeah, because my mehndi, oh my God, I don't even remember how much my mehndi outfit was.
Sorry, I do have another regret of cost-wise. I'm so sorry.
No, what is it? What is it?
I regret having an engagement party. I think it was a huge waste of money.
Me too.
Dude, I think it was such a waste of money. And I loved my
engagement party. I wish my engagement party was like my maillot, you know?
Yes, like I had a good time. It was fun. But dude, all that
it was beautiful. It was so fun,
you know? Like I know, but I just think by the time we got to our reception, Muzi and I always were like, we're never going to be the people that are like, oh my God, you've had 800 events. We always were like, we never want to be those people. And then we were literally those people. And then we were like, well, I guess we have to own it now because that's who we are.
No, but it was such a good event.
But you know what I mean? If there's anything you're going to do, cut the 800 small. I don't think you guys do that much anymore anyway. But sorry, okay, your total for your
so I think my mehndi outfit had to have been $1,000 or less for sure. So yeah, let's just like highball it and say it was $1,000. So then I paid $3,500 in total, and then my Valima outfit was a gift from my in-laws.
I'm so scared. My outfits were expensive, but I don't regret it.
No regrets here. No.
Also, people were asking if we've reworn our wedding outfits.
No.
Amna hasn't yet. I haven't. We're waiting for one of our siblings to.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to wear it then either because I'm going to want something new.
Yeah, you're right. I know, same. But I want to wear some of them because I got them for like smaller events too. The outfits I had gotten were so I'll work backwards. My Valima outfit was like $4,000 to $6,000, and my in-laws had done that one. I don't remember exactly. My and that one was like Saira Rizwan, but I got it through Jarosh. But it's Saira Rizwan, but it's like the sourcer is Jarosh, which is like a UK brand. Like, so it was the same designer outfit, but I just didn't have to deal with Saira Rizwan people. And then what ended up being my like Shendi outfit was a Banto Kazmi outfit, and that one
stunning.
I love. And there was so much fear in me about if I'm gonna regret spending this money on this outfit.
Good.
But as soon as it arrived, you guys, it is gorgeous. Inside out, the quality, the work of it. Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Stunning.
In person, like this. I love it. I was like, I can't wait to pass this on for our daughters to like use it for them to walk under. It's just such a cute dupatta and outfit. That one was like 10 to 12 grand. I think it was. Am I right?
No, in my mind I thought it was like 9.
Like 9 to 10.
Okay.
And then because it might have been like 9-7, something like that. But then with ship, so it was like 9 to 10 grand. Sorry. And then my Mayo outfit was like 900-ish. I had gotten it from the Luxurious in California, Luxurious 786. She copied an outfit and made it for me, but I loved my Mayo outfit too. And then the outfit I wore to one of the Mayo events that my in-laws hosted, I got that one from Abhinav Mishrav, and that one was like $2,000.
Oh, that was such a good outfit though. Stunning. I love.
Fights on the wedding day. Did you have any? Were there family fights?
Wedding day. There was fights every other hour. What are you guys talking about? Fights on the wedding day?
Were there fights between?
Not like fights on the family. There's always something going on.
There was like it's like everything everywhere all at once. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. But was there like a blowout big fight at your wedding? I don't think
not at my wedding. No. I think the biggest fight, and this ties into another question because people were fighting. Someone had asked if we like regretted inviting certain people or not inviting, if that was like a big deal. That the wedding guest list was the biggest fight of my household.
Okay.
And the funny thing is my mom was the person trying to invite the least amount of people. My dad was inviting like every person he looked at. And so my wedding wasn't that many people. It was, well, at least to me, I feel like it's like an average number compared to how Desi weddings can be.
It was like 200-ish.
My mehndi was maybe like 150, and then my wedding was like 200. Definitely I remember it being 200. My walima was a convention, but that was none of my business. My walima, I was like,
you guys, if you're having 3 events, being the bride and going to the walima,
I am a guest at this event. They were like asking me like, oh, do you want the? I'm like, I have a time.
Do you regret having 3 events?
No, because not personally, because we lived in different states.
Yeah.
So it was fun to have everyone go from one state to the other, and like it added to the vibes. I definitely think if we lived in one city, I probably would have cut it down to 2. I did everything I wanted to do at my mehndi shadi. Exactly. So I was like, this is...
Now I'm attending. I'm just enjoying the ride.
I'm here having a good time, but there was so many people. There was like over like 500 people at that.
That's very Chicago.
I only cared about like the first 10 tables. I'm like, that's everybody else way in the back, not my problem. So...
I had 150 at my mehndi. We had a way bigger guest list, and the same question about like, did it cause fights? It caused a lot of fights.
It caused a lot of fights
between like my parents and their friends. There were like friends of mine that were really upset, even from the nikah, because our nikah was like deep COVID.
But that was really fucked up for people to be mad at.
People were really annoyed. And then at my wedding, people were also like, what the hell about not being invited? But you know what? I don't even regret. I feel like it was fine. It was like 200. Yeah. I think our reception was like 250, and our mehndi was like 150 to 200. And then the fight thing. I popped off, and I really wish I hadn't done this, but it got the job done.
Okay.
But I got into my reception venue, and I was super fucking excited. Guys, the venue I did like a rendering of my decor. So good. It was so good. But when I was driving, when Muzi and I are driving up to the reception, one of my friends had FaceTimed me. Her phone was like zoomed out and really blurry, but she was showing me the decor, but it was like daytime and it wasn't looking the way it was supposed to. And one of the chandeliers was wrong. So I was like, wait, this is not how it's supposed to look. And my venue was a very big venue. Yeah. Also, no one we know has done a wedding there. So it was very risky. And our fear was that it would feel like a very big warehouse with like nothing happening.
Yeah.
Because they kept telling us that like the venue swallows so much decor. So anyways, I'm like freaking out. We walk in, 2 of the chandeliers that we had spent a lot of money on. There was like a few chandeliers on our stage on each side, but they were wrong, and we had spent a lot of money on them. So I was like, that was wrong. There was supposed to be a coordinator person at our venue from our venue that was supposed to be there for like, because it was one of those venues where like the catering separate, everything separate.
Yeah.
So they were supposed to be there, and no one was there for that. So the catering guy was like running around like frazzled. I had no wedding coordinator. So I was like, where the fuck is this person that's supposed to be here? Why the fuck are the lights wrong? They had also thrown stuff in. So like they actually did add stuff too. So that was really nice. But I was like, this is wrong. This is wrong. Like, where the fuck are the chandeliers we paid for? There's no one I can even call. Yeah. So I popped off at the venue guy. I'm like fully, you guys, I'm like dupatta on, like 800-pound lashes. I walk into the venue and I pop off.
Good.
They added extra lights. They added extra up lights. They like fixed stuff. And I was like, okay. And then it was fine. But still, I popped off.
Honestly, good. And I actually was going to say, you were saying that story and it reminded me that I didn't pop off, but my dad and my decorator got into it. And to the point where at my bridal shower, my brother's calling. No, the decorator's calling me and is like, only because there's like a week left till your wedding. Am I staying? But like, I cannot.
I remember.
And I was like, what? Because there was another girl who showed the same inspo. So for her wedding decor, so my dad and my brother, they went to go look at the decor. And no offense to this girl, because if anything, I think my dad like saved her wedding decor. My dad like is like, what's this? I can say like whatever. My dad's
He's very like perfectionist about.
He really like is, and he likes that stuff. Yeah. My dad is a florist, basically, so he really likes that stuff. So he got really mad about that. So that was a big fight. That was like a big deal at the time. But the guest list was also a big one. But I don't think I don't know if I popped off.
I don't think you did.
But anyone, maybe besides like fighting my parents.
Yeah,
but you know,
you didn't. But I will say one more thing about when you guys are picking your vendors for like future bride and grooms, which was also some of the questions. We're like answering some of them and then reading some of them, but we're answering them throughout. But pick vendors that like obviously you trust in their vision, but the vendors we had really, 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 really liked the personalities of our vendors. And that makes a huge
dude.
Difference.
My DJ was so phenomenal. The morning of, he's asking me if I wanted tacos. He even joined one of the dances because he was friends with my friends and they were on the same Punjabi dance. Like, they make it so much fun when they're having fun. So yeah, definitely pick a good one.
If you got married now, what would you do differently?
Oh my God, after this entire freaking...
Like your frontal lobes developed, so what would be more your vibe?
I think if I did my wedding now, the things that I would do differently besides like the things that I just named earlier, basically everything that I chose, I shouldn't have modified it. I know exactly the look I want. I still would pick the same look. Just I think I would have done a tighter bun, like small little tweaks, you know, modern day. But like my makeup, I loved it during the trial. I made her do modifications day of the wedding, and I'm like, I wish I just kept it to the trial.
Like trusting your gut.
I wish I trusted my gut. So I trust my gut more. I was very like a chill bride, but in a way that like I shot myself in the ass. I knew what I wanted, but I was very like, I just want to make it work.
Yeah,
I just want to make it work.
Compromising things.
I was okay with compromising.
Whatever.
I'm like, I just wanted to go smooth. I just wanted to go smooth. And now I wish I took more charge and I was more about the details and was like, no, this and this. I actually saw this really good advice on TikTok that this girl was like, if you have people in your family that are really big personalities and you're like worried about them, give them a job, give them a task. I didn't like delegate jobs and say, hey, we're doing this like this and this like this. So I think I would do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What would you do?
I think I still would pick the outfits I picked. I think that I would have maybe had like less of my parents' friends that I feel like I don't know that well and stuff. But like at the end of the day, like it made them happy to have them there. So like it's fine. But I don't know. I feel like if I was getting married now, the trends are different now and my vibe would be different now. You know what I mean? Like at that time, I felt like I just wanted, it felt like innovative and fun and fresh. I feel like I just wanted to be like fun and fresh. But I think I always wanted to do like a really silky white, like as like a, not in my main wedding outfits, but just like as a vibe.
Oh yes,
like a
yes,
silky white with like a middle, like a side part with like deep curl. Like I just thought that was so like sophisticated and pretty. So maybe for like an anniversary dinner or something, because that never would have been my wedding outfits. But like,
no, you should
like
still do that.
And then other things that I just was thinking that like I would want to do differently, but they're not like deep things.
Yeah.
It's not like PTSD, but just like things I would do differently, or if I was giving advice to someone now. Like I last minute decided to add bridesmaid outfits, and I feel like that was such a waste of time, energy, their money. And I feel bad because my friends are probably like, bitch, we didn't want, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, you do it for like the photo and the vibe, and it feels like a good idea, but then I feel like, at least in my experience, it wasn't even like a fight or anything. It just felt like a waste of energy and time, and I made everyone like rush to go get this off. I feel like it's a headache you don't need to have. Like nobody cares at the end of the day. People have more fun wearing what they want to wear, and Amna told me that when I was trying to make the decision, and I was like, no, I want to do it anyway. So I regret doing that. I wish I hadn't done
but the outfits were cute and they came out beautifully.
But you know what I mean? Like if I was getting married now, like I would not do that. Okay. What's something you loved? Because I feel like we did.
Oh yeah, we've been going. I'm like, in my wedding. No, I actually really did love my wedding. What did I love about my wedding? I loved that one because we were so young. Like everyone came for the summer, and we all slept in the same house, and there was something
and
going
all
on
the
every
friends
day,
came.
and everybody was coming. Like even for your wedding, like those videos and memories are the best.
Yes.
So I absolutely love the videos and memories. I love dance practice for both weddings, but for my wedding, I love the dance practice. I love my wedding decor. I actually I still love everything about my wedding. Like I said, I just elevate it now, but I loved that I like our mehndi, we danced till like 3 a.m. and I loved I had so much fun at my mehndi. Like we did all the pictures and then we were like, okay, we're done.
And then
what did
we get on the way home for food?
We got food on the way home. We tried to get Taco Bell.
No, it was the place that has curly fries.
Arby's, Wendy's.
No, in Texas, in Dallas.
Whataburger?
Was it Whataburger?
We might have tried to get Whataburger. We had a pickup truck, so we're sitting in the back of the pickup truck after my wedding. So I just feel like the wedding chaos, I loved it. I love my decor. I had so much fun at my mehndi. I love my mehndi makeup and hair. Like there was...
Yeah, but what part was your favorite part?
Oh my God. Okay, I think my absolute favorite part of my wedding that comes to mind is the mehndi was the first big event. And the moment the doors opened for my entrance, and all I saw was I felt like a dome or like a wall of every human face I've ever seen in my life. And everyone, there's flashes and cameras and stuff. So just seeing that visual, I think that was my favorite, oh my God, this is crazy. This is my wedding.
So crazy.
That and the dance floor at night. I think there was a moment where I was this is the
Euphoria.
best. Yeah.
This is Nirvana.
Literally,
that's so crazy because I was asking Muzi in the car because I was reading some of the questions with him because he dropped me off. But dude, that's also that vibe is also one of my favorite moments at my wedding. It's the moment at our reception when after my entrance, we did our ring exchange and Muzi and I were standing. And I remember Frank Ocean, Thinking About You was playing in the back from the DJ. And everybody was just clapping and cheering, and the jazz player was playing the song, he was playing it on the jazz player. The saxophonist was playing the song on his saxophone, and everyone, it was like this moment of like, yeah, like everyone was standing and cheering for us, and we had just gotten finally married, and it just felt so like warm, and it was just such like a, oh my God, these are all your people, you know?
Yes,
like all your people,
and it's like all your worlds have collided and they're in one space, like an ocean
really
of
sweet.
people that
like
you love. It's so nice. Like that first moment, that entrance, like really hone in on that, because that's such a good moment.
Okay, it was like a part 1 and a part 2, and it said, in-laws opened our wedding money while we were on our honeymoon, then gave envelope and money separately. Then she also told me she took out, I'm assuming she's talking about her like mother-in-law.
Okay.
Then she also told me she took out 300 for herself because people told her it was for her trauma and drama. So anyway, so they opened the money when they were
basically they took a piece. They took a share.
Yeah, the bride and groom were on the honeymoon, and the bride's in-laws, sounds like her mother-in-law, I think, because she said she that opened the money and took some money for herself. That's crazy.
That's wild.
Definitely before your wedding. Definitely. Especially if you're like, you know, if you're one of the people that's like, I know the money's all coming to me, it's like an understood thing, fine. But for everybody else that's like navigating that situation, make sure you talk about it before the wedding. Yeah. Make sure you manage expectations before the wedding. We did it the morning after our wedding at my in-laws. My parents were there too. Yep. We all sat down. It was like a sit down thing. Wrote everything down. But yeah, like I feel like that's so bogus. Why? How are you gonna open their money while they're on their honeymoon?
But also, I was gonna say that like my mom made sure that the day after my Valima, I went and I opened up my own locker. Yeah, she was like, you, and not that anything weird has ever happened or any. I was like, Mom, this is so unnecessary. But now I understand what it is she was trying to get across, because, and also like genuinely me being me, I would have like forgotten where I put shit. Yeah. So she made me take all my jewelry, all my gold, everything that I possibly could, any cash, whatever. And she was like, just put it in, come back and figure it out, but like put it. But sometimes, you know, actually, because I didn't know this, that people would like, I think it was at my wedding that I realized that people were also writing like cards to my parents.
Yeah. No, some people did that too, but like, I have seen that happen too, but this is different.
This is different. This is like
chose to do it yourself.
Crazy. Okay. Did you do a seating chart?
No,
I did not. Do you regret not doing a seating chart?
No.
Same. I didn't do a seating chart. I had reserved tables, but I do wish I had a seating chart for the head table.
Oh no, we just had head tables, and I'm like, one side is one side.
I feel like my parents were doing that thing, which a lot of Desi parents do, where they're like, no, you sit. No, you sit. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, you guys are sitting on the outside of the venue. Go sit, so that, because this is an important part. Like Desi parents, I feel like this is a universal thing where they're so worried about everybody else. I look back and I didn't notice it in the moment, but when I watch my wedding video, I look at my Mehndi video. I'm like, where's my mom? She's might as well have been in the DJ booth. I'm like, Mom, you are sitting with our nanny, our grandma, all the way over there. Why weren't you sitting? I assumed in my mind she's behind me.
Wait, I didn't even know she was that far.
She was so far. So I wish at the head table that I put a thing. My parents would have still tried, but it makes the other person go like, no, it's like,
dude, our moms are sometimes so, like, sometimes they're raging crazy, but sometimes they're so passive about things. Like at my Mehndi day, which was like my whole red look. And my mom was always like, she was like, I can't wait to see you in like a red outfit as like a Pakistani bride. Like that was always the thing that was exciting for her. And on that day, I literally didn't see my mom. Like Muzi and I had a first look and people were up top and people were in and out. And like my mom had come during that and I was like, Mom, I can't turn around yet because Muzi's coming down. And I hate that I did that. That like kills me inside. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you just turn around? But then I didn't see my mom till like so much later, like basically right when I was about to enter, and she was like, let me see her. And I was like, I haven't even seen you yet. And I felt so bad. I was like, where are you? You should be like, fuck everybody. I'm right here.
You know, another regret of mine, and I feel like it's so worth the money, and I loved that you did it, is I wish I had hair and makeup show up to wherever we were and everyone get ready together and like get a hotel room and be like, get out of here actually, because I feel like my mom was getting ready at like Ota one day and this one day, and then it was like very chaotic, and I wish I took care of that too, because I'm like, that would have been a really nice time.
If you're getting married, like something I did was the night before I had my mom, my sister. Well, my mom came morning off because she didn't want to come the night before because they were like hosting people and stuff too. But my sister, my cousin Amna, we had done like a night at a hotel the night before, and it was like a really nice hotel room. And then the next morning we all got ready together and stuff. So that was like really, really nice. And if you have like really close girlfriends that you want to do that with, it was actually so nice to start the wedding day that way, because we were like telling stories about like the dances at the Mehndi, and we were all waking up together. And if you're having a destination wedding, people do that anyways. But yeah, it was super chill. Everybody got ready together. We had a hookah going in the morning.
We were chilling.
It was so fun.
We were so relaxed, and it was like just like maybe 5 of us or 10 of us or something. Like
it was like literally like 5 or 6 of us
that slept over, and then the rest of the girls came, and it was really nice. What was the most annoying question asked right after your wedding? I feel like the go-to is the kids.
Yeah, but right after. Oh, I have one.
What is it?
I am very particular about like jewelry. I know it's super fucking weird. Maybe some of you can relate, but like I'm very particular about jewelry and how it sits with the outfit. Like if I'm gonna wear it, what I'm gonna wear, like I have to feel really good about it. Okay, like does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like on my Shandy day and my other, like I hate that I'm calling it a Shandy. On my Mehndi day where I wore my red outfit, I had like the nut and the jhumar and the like huge necklace and the big earrings and the sahari coming off the earrings. Like I had all of that. But at my reception day, I only had earrings. Like I had no necklace.
Okay.
And even during my wedding, like so many of my mom's friends, like they would say like hi to me, like they were hugging me and they're like, oh my God, you look so nice. And they'd be like, where's your jewelry? Like really rude. And I was like, why are you asking me that? And I was like, I didn't want to wear a necklace with it because I didn't want to wear a necklace with that outfit.
Yeah.
A lot of people messaged me that too. Not a lot, but like a few people messaged me that too. But yeah, I was just like, because I didn't want to. I just like more understated jewelry, especially with a cooler tone outfit. Like when the jewelry is louder than the outfit, unless it's gold and like that deep, dull gold, like that I think is really gorgeous when it's overdone. But when it's with silver, cool tone stuff, like sometimes I think it can look really gaudy. So that's just my preference.
And it looked like, again, it looked stunning. Like your outfit was also like fitted and kind of mermaid style.
It just would have looked
I totally get the vision. Exactly. Yeah. And also, you know, for Desis, I feel like they want you to do like
they want you to be dripped head to toe.
But sometimes it doesn't fit the vision. Sometimes it doesn't fit the look. Okay, what else do we got?
Do you like your photos?
Yeah, I do like my photos. My photographer, she was great. She was very she's kind of like notorious for like portrait shots. I do wish I had someone who took more like documentary style type, like maybe candids a bit more. So I did like my photos. Yeah, no complaints there necessarily. I had good photos. I do wish though, you did this, is I wish we took our photos earlier, like with the family and stuff, because my wedding, my Mehndi was like, the first hour was just us on stage, like cheeks red, because it's like photo after photo after photo after photo. And I wish we didn't do that.
Huge thing about that. Like we let that happen for our Mehndi. Performances started at like 11 p.m. It was just like ran so late.
Yeah.
Once you get on stage, everybody has to get on stage. And like, you don't want to say no, but then every variation has to go and you're going to upset somebody. And like, that was, I guess not a fight, but that was like going on.
That happens at every wedding, dude.
But Muzi and I on our reception, and we were really intentional about this, and we made sure that we did this at the reception, which is why we were okay with it at the Mehndi. But as in we were okay with like the photos taking over at the Mehndi. On the reception day, we had photos until the draping opened and people entered. Once people entered, the event started. People like Muzi and I were on stage, and people came up on stage for speeches, and then Muzi and I came off stage.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. And then you guys walked around.
We didn't have photo ops at our reception on stage
good.
At all.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, literally we walked off the stage right after the speeches, and there were no group photos. There were no auntie uncle photos. There were no groups of families that were not our immediate family on our stage at all.
I think the older we're getting, the more we're doing that now. But do not let people take over your freaking wedding.
Dude, I think there's a lot of weddings I still go to where it's like 90% of the wedding is
that pisses me off, because the variation, you literally just came back.
Unless you're doing photos your whole wedding because you're doing it in different spots and there's different photos.
Yeah. But I mean the sit down on stage.
Sitting on stage for 4 hours and every variation of every family coming up to take
And it's the person that's not even that close to you now. They're bringing their kid. Who knows where their dad is? It's literally not for you. And the thing is, I'm like, do you think I'm going to send this to you? Because I'm not.
Do you think that's how I want to spend my wedding day that I spent so much money on? Do you think that's how I want to spend my wedding day? No.
Okay.
How much money did you spend in total?
Oh,
you know what? I don't remember exactly how much I spent. You guys, honestly, I don't. But I do remember that I was and Amna was like this too. Like, I think you would think this is like just the way to do it. Obviously, stretch your dollar. You would think that I spent more money than I did, but it's because I picked a venue that a lot of the decor was included within the venue.
Yes.
And I made sure tables and chairs were included, and the chairs that were included were already clear. What is it called?
Yeah, like the acrylic looking
type chairs. So a lot of that stuff that can elevate your wedding is probably like pick up maybe a venue or a caterer or whatever. Like try to pick something that I think those things make a bigger difference than how much you put on top.
Yes.
Because that like
you don't have to do as much to it then.
Exactly.
You really don't.
Or like you had fresh flowers, and so like
well, but I mixed and matched. So like the stage wasn't fresh flowers, but on the tables we put fresh flowers. And then like my wedding was a very summer wedding, and the color scheme was very summery, which I loved. And yeah, my venue, it was like a really cute hotel. I loved the space. It was a perfect size. It wasn't like, you know, on the walls and like the ceilings. Yeah. I remember always being very picky about the ceiling. I remember anytime I saw a weird ceiling, I'm like, we're not doing this.
And the carpet you cared about a lot.
Yeah, I really didn't love when there was like loud carpeting.
But at the end of the day, we're saying all this stuff. It would be nice to have. There are a lot of things that we wish we could have added. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure I'll see a wedding in Lake Como and I'll be like, oh my God, that would be the dream wedding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
So like,
there's always someone's wedding that's better than yours. There's always someone's wedding that's like, you know, like there's always something.
Like your wedding is going to be the best your wedding's going to be. And 100% something you realize when you get a little perspective before or after, like somebody's wedding's always going to be better. You're not always going to have the most unique thing. But I think that just comes with age too.
I think the biggest thing is if you have the right crew and the right crowd at your wedding, don't worry about that
company. And I do think that your outfits, your makeup, like if you care about photos, getting the pictures you want, dude. Our friend Sadia, she's a content creator in Chicago, but also anywhere, and her page is SKR Moments. I always tell her now that I'm like, man, if I had you at my wedding to capture behind the scenes stuff, and I wasn't stressed about asking my friends to do it, and you captured all the cutesy moments that the content creators capture, I'm like, I would love that.
Yeah.
You know,
that's like that's like a recent thing that just started, like literally a years ago, like a couple years ago. Yeah, that would have made all the difference because there's so many. That's what I'm saying. The videos that like Rabia took at your like we're prepping for your Mayu stuff and like the random videos we have are actually the best ones.
They are,
and
capture all that
because you don't want to pay for a photographer to be there early and you know. So like having a content creator, I think it's worth it.
It's worth it. If we had Sadia as a content creator for like our Mayo events and stuff.
Oh my God,
and they make little like, you know what I mean? Like that's just
fun
so
reels and stuff.
Because then on your own, you're like, wait, did anybody get this part? Did anybody get this part? Did anybody get this part?
No, I wanted to ask you because we only have a couple minutes left, but I feel like it'd be a fun question. What was the most, like, we'll answer it for each other. Okay. What was your most memorable moment at my wedding? And I'll tell you at your wedding.
Dancing with you and your Mehndi open dance floor. Like dancing with you, like me, Rabia, my sister Rabia and Amna did a dance to Pia Pia at her wedding.
Yeah, that was so cute.
The moment that Rabia and I are doing the dance and then Amna comes up on stage, the moment that you're coming up on the stage and everyone like cheered and you were smiling, that's like my favorite moment.
That's so
But
sweet.
in your wedding in general, the late nights after the living in your house, the getting, like all of that part of it, like being in the girl side house and the guy side is having, like, I just like loved that whole
that was so fun. Okay, what was your worst moment at my wedding?
My worst moment at your wedding was,
and when I say worst, let me clarify, because obviously this is like my sister and we always joke about like when it's your sibling's wedding, dude, you black out at some point. You like actually black out at some point.
Fully black out.
You fully black out.
It was the day when after your wedding where I had a full crash out. Do you remember the day after the wedding?
I had a crash out after my Valima.
I had a full crash out the day after your Rukhsati. I was like, I don't know, everything hit me at once. I was like, holy fuck, like you're navigating a lot of families, a lot of dynamics, you know? And like when you're like sisters to each other, you're like the person doing all that. But then later you're like, oh, wait,
what just happened?
That was a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And it was the first wedding and there was just a lot of, it's like the tensions are so freaking high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I am a type of person, especially when I was younger, I felt like I needed credit like 24. I was like, oh my God, like, did you know I did that? Did you know I did that? Like I need that so much. So I felt like I had given like my arm and then the next day I was like, Amna's like married and living her life. And I'm like, do you know that I went through the trenches these last 3 days?
And then I called her like a week later. I was like, son, and then we talked about it and we recapped and it was so good.
Because somebody, you know, like when it's my wedding, you're holding the fort down. Rabia's holding the fort down. Like your siblings are holding the fort and your friends. But that's who's holding the fort down.
Yeah, very true. At yours, my favorite part was one of my favorite parts, like in the wedding in general, is right before you and Muzi came out, and like we stood as families, like his family and our family, we stood in a line in these like gorgeous trees.
We had like entrance that was like trees and draping, and the draping opened, and then you walk through the trees to the venue.
All the guests had to walk through this like tunnel basically, and then we were like lined up in the tunnel, and the way everyone was, it was just so fun greeting everybody, and it was like everyone came in all at once, so that was a lot of fun. I loved your entrance to your reception, like the music and then the veil, and it was so like, and you gave me a little like winky look, and I was like, that should be me up there. So it was so good. And then
least favorite,
okay, lighthearted one, and it's so stupid because there were moments like I think on your Mehndi, I don't know what the hell Mustafa, my brother, was asking of me, but I snapped so hard at him where I was like, Mustafa! Yeah, I think I was managing the photos of who goes next and what, and I literally snapped at him so hard.
Oh, if you mean those, I had 80 of those at your wedding.
I remember him looking at me like, oh.
Yeah,
okay,
I did that to everyone at Amna's
So
wedding.
that was that moment. But I think lighthearted one where I was like, what are we going to do? Is right before you got in the car the day of the reception. And I don't know if you're going to like, sorry. She's looking at me and she's like, Amna, is one boob lower than the other? And I was like,
I have big boobs. I wore the wrong bra. And I was like, fuck, it was really important that I wore the right bra because.
But we're ready. Veils on.
But you guys have
leaving.
veils on. I'm pinned into my dress.
Yes.
I'm pinned in. I have a second layer on top. We're sealed.
The car doors opened. Yes. And she's looking at me in that moment. And I'm like, I know when I lie. Because I'm going to lie.
I know.
She's going to be like, you're lying, because that's what she said. She's like, no, I'm not. I know. Why didn't you tell me? I know this is it. And I'm like, Sana, there is nothing we can do. We cannot take off the outfit. No one's going to notice. Nobody noticed.
Yeah.
So that one, but I also crashed. I crashed out, I think, the day before your Mayu.
Oh, yeah, you did.
But my crash out wasn't like
it wasn't about me or
it wasn't about like
you.
It was a me
you were
versus
so
me.
Nice. I was the one crashing out about her at her wedding. She was crashing out about her at my wedding. I was struggling with not being able to debrief with you.
Yeah,
I was like, I have to tell her everything that's been happening at the wedding now that the wedding's over. Like,
and then you couldn't find me because I'm with a boy, and we were like, why is she with a boy? Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah, no, mine was like right before, but mine was more like I was missing my mom, and I was like emotional. But I kept trying to like still be in dance practice, so I'd come up with like tears, and I'd be like, okay guys, let's go. And then I'm like doing the dance, like mid dance, I'd be like, I can't.
No,
and
then
walk off.
And
everyone was like, it's okay, I'm not. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be in the dance, because me and your mom would talk about it where we thought we were gonna have our like we miss our like my mom crash out when we were getting our makeup done, because that was so her thing.
Yes,
she had her moment in there. By that point I was chilling. I was like, I'm ready for my makeup. I cried for 24 hours yesterday. I'm chilling. So yeah, but that wasn't like
that was a very valid crash out. Yeah.
Okay,
I think that's everything. We answered as much as we could. This is a long episode. We hope you guys enjoy it. We don't have Can I Be a Bitches this episode. Half of our episode because half our thing was being a bitch. Okay, so we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.